could dream of fights like this, but very seldom do they live up to the expectation. This is even more than you could dream of. Just imagine if you bought a ticket. Stop it, Frank. You can stop it any time.
Welcome to Dance Under Those Lights. Delighted to bring you this week's guest, someone who had a stellar career both as an amateur and as a professional. Wayne McCullough was Northern Ireland's first WBC World Champion, going across to Japan to beat Yasui Yakushiji for the bantamweight crown. He also fought the likes of Eric Morales, Nazim Hamed. I think he fought for the world title 6 times across 3 weights. So he had an amazing professional career, based in the US for a long time and trained by the great Eddie Futch. So worked with the likes of Ricky Hatton and Mike McCullough, and he fought a lot of his fights on HBO during a golden age of US boxing coverage. So a real superstar in America, and one that everyone in the British Isles and very, very proud of. His amateur career was no less stellar, really. In many respects, you could argue it was better. A 2-time Olympian. He won gold in the 1992 Barcelona Olympics, and over the years he shared the ring with many famous names, including one Arturo Gatti as an amateur. He went on to train the likes of Alex Arthur and Librado Andrade, who challenged for the world title against Michael Kessler. So he's also has a lot of experience as a coach, and currently lives in Las Vegas, where he continues to train professionals and amateurs. This was an amazing discussion with a guy who, just my overriding feeling after the conversation was just one of gratitude to speak with someone who was so humble, so down to earth, just a really normal guy. And yet when you reflect on all of the things that he achieved within the ring as an amateur and as a professional, he should go down as really one of the best to come from these shores. Fantastic chin as well. The great HBO commentator Larry Merchant once said that if you look up in the dictionary the definition of a tough Irishman, there'll be a picture of Wayne McCullough there. His chin was legendary, absolutely legendary. The likes of Morales and Nazim Hamed couldn't get him out of there in 12 rounds. And he was just a fantastic fighter. And this is a great conversation, talking about his career, talking about the influence of the great Eddie Futch on him, but also some discussion around the relationship between a fighter and a trainer, the amateur and the pro ranks, the state of US boxing at the moment, both from an amateur and a professional perspective. This was recorded not long after the Crawford's Canelo fight, which is just down the road from his house in Vegas. And yeah, we'll also talk about the opportunities that young fighters get or don't get, and what maybe could be done to improve the sport. An amazing conversation, one I feel really privileged to be able to have with him, and an amazing guy. This was recorded while I was with my son up at a training camp, and unfortunately I had 1 or 2 technical issues with the sound, so there's a little bit of echo throughout parts of the recording, so apologies for the sound quality at times, but I hope you'll agree that the quality of the input from Wayne justified me putting this out there. I can only apologise to him and to you listening if that affects the experience of listening to his interview, but I'm not a professional. I think I continue to prove that as I record these podcasts, but I still thoroughly enjoy them, and I hope you do too. So without further ado, let's get to Wayne. Wayne, welcome to the show. Thanks a lot for coming on. Really looking forward to this conversation. How are you?
I'm doing good. Thanks for having me on.
You're welcome. I mean, coming from Las Vegas, I think you're the first guest on the show who's come from what many people think is the fight capital of the world. So I'm excited to have you on. Great. So listen, let's get into it. We start the show with a warm up. So I'm just going to ask you a couple of questions to start off with. Wayne, do you deem to be the kind of golden age of boxing? What would you say is your favourite decade, let's say, in the fight game?
Well, I turned pro in 93, and I think 10 years from 93 was great fights, great boxing. Oscar De La Hoya was in the same Olympics as me. We turned pro at the same time. He was around. Joel Casamayor, I fought in the Olympics. He was around. And so you had all them, Holyfield, Riddick Bowe, the heavyweights, all around at the same time. And fight. Everybody was fighting each other. And then Floyd Mayweather from the 96 Olympics, he was around. And every division was was loaded. Or like my division had bantamweight, super bantam, feather, Eric Morales and Zim Head, all in them 3 divisions. It was just every division was loaded. We had to fight guys for like elimination fights, maybe the NBF belt to get in the top 10. It's changed a little bit today, really, compared to then. I
Yeah.
think that
So,
was a
so you
good
don't
era.
you don't think it's as deep as?
Of course, Mike Tyson was there too. You can't forget about Mike Tyson.
Of course. Yeah. I mean, a legend.
He was
right?
he was from like the 80s right through it. I mean, him and Holyfield,
Sure.
but they were
sure.
still around in the 90s as well.
So strength. You view the 90s as stronger than today in terms of depth, anyway.
Oh yeah, in my division, bantamweight was me, Yakishiza. I fought in Japan.
Yeah.
Paulie Ayala, Jenny Tapia, Danny Romero, Junior Jones. Moved up to one division. Junior Jones, say Morales, Ferreira, unbelievable. Then featherweight was Hamed and Kevin Kelly, all guys like that. That's with space of 8 pounds.
Yeah. It's amazing, isn't it?
And you throw them names at the World World Champions.
Yeah. No, definitely. And I mean, we've had John Scully on the show.
John's a good friend of mine.
And he talked about the strength of even just boxing in New York State going back into the 90s and how over the years it's gradually kind of thinned out.
Yeah, amateurs and pros was loaded.
Yeah, great stuff. Okay, so next question. You pick a kid off the street who shows a lot of talent, and you, for whatever reason, are unable to train that kid. Who would you entrust that kid's development with in the game? So think of any trainer in history that you would send, other than yourself, that you would send that kid to. Who would you choose?
Well, if it was just any time, I like 80s, 90s, Eddie Futch, because before I came here, my coach, Harry Robinson, he passed me last year. He was with me for 14 years as an amateur. But Nicholas Cruz Hernandez, the Cuban coach, who trained us from 88 Olympics right to 92, showed the difference in levels that I could be taught even by my own coach. I'm always grateful for my coach, I really am. But Nicholas took it to a different level, started teaching defense and movement and sitting your punches. And from 1990 to 92, before I turned pro, I got 3 major medals: Commonwealth gold, a world bronze, and a big silver.
Yeah.
For a space of 2 years, which showed the growth I did over them 2 years.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, I get to come with Eddie Futch. It was like, what? He's going to train me? I'm like, what? And that was another level again. And when I see kids today, and I see coaches even, they need to learn defense. The first thing you need to learn is defense. Anybody can go out and throw punches and do this, do that. If a punch is coming to you, what do? You stand like this. You can slip it. You can roll it. But Eddie showed me how to catch it, block it, like that. And I say I never touched the canvas my whole career. And it was down to one person, Eddie Futch. So with a young kid today, you got to get that coach. There's a lot of coaches out there who, I'm not going to badmouth anybody. They'll say they know everything. Eddie Futch told me that even coaches can learn. But these ones that get put down over a kid's shoulder and try to drag them away, I don't blame the coach. I blame the coach or the fighter for being like, have one look at him and see what he's teaching. For that split second, you can find out what he's good at, what he's not good at. Eddie showed me how to do it. Maybe I'm a little bit spoiled with Eddie Futch, but he showed me how to look at a fighter's dissect him, strengths, weaknesses. And I say with the kid today, kids fall away because they get the wrong coaching.
Yeah.
And you have to have the right coach, because you have to make a solid team. And without that, you might have talent, but you need somebody to bring it out of you.
Yeah. I mean, it doesn't surprise me that you said Eddie Futch, because I think we're going to talk about Eddie Futch quite a lot on this, quite understandably. But I've heard you quote and say he was just a beautiful person. And you talk about building a fighter and teaching the fundamentals of defense, the fundamentals of attack, and the technical breakdown, pastoral care that a coach has for a boxer, and that connection that they have. The way that you speak about him is understandably, so much respect, but gratitude for what he did for you. And I guess my assumption is that you're now a coach yourself, and well, you have been for a long time, right? So I guess that you'll have built those connections with your fighters as well over the years.
Yes, with Eddie, I've got a picture on the wall of Eddie. He looks over the gym every day.
Yeah.
And I always said, people always said to me, "Oh, do you have talent? Do you have talent?" I'm like, "Yeah, but if I wouldn't have went to Eddie Futch, I wouldn't have won a world champion."
Right.
And oh, yes, you would have. I'm like, no, I wouldn't have. I know the different level, and he brought me to a level I thought I could never go to because I didn't know there wasn't a level.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
get to the Olympics level, you think you're at the top, but going for pro it was just another step up. Eddie had me sitting on my shots, defense, offense, and each fight I had my first 7 pro fights in 16 weeks. I went from 4 round to a 10 rounder, but every fight I had, I got better because I was training nonstop. How to fight back to the gym, how to fight back to the gym. Within that 16 weeks, I did that, and I became a 10 round fighter after 16 weeks. And I improved so much within that small space of time. Eddie seen the improvement, I seen the improvement, and I knew I could get even better and better. A lot
That's
of fighters
amazing.
today they take time off after a fight and waste 2 or 3 weeks. I took maybe 2 days off after the fight because my muscles were sore just, and straight back to the gym right away, and I was fighting again 2 weeks later. Just kept going, kept going. My second fight was in the theater at the Madison Square Garden. And then 8 days later, I had a fight in California.
Oh,
A busy fighter's a better fighter, and you improve so much. Like even nowadays, the big guys, the champions, they're fighting maybe twice a year at the most, once a year. And it's not good.
Yeah. Yeah. So you think that activity actually was the key to activity, and obviously what Eddie was working with you, and the fact that you were able to put it back into the ring and take that learning from the gym into the ring
Yeah.
quickly and with
Yeah.
repetition.
Busy fighter's a better fighter. And my first half dozen fights, I'm not fighting bums, but I'm fighting guys you should beat. But they're learning fights. They're all Mexicans, they're all tough, believe me. But each fight, I've been doing different things in the gym, try to put in that fight. And then I go back to the gym again, practice for another fight, and different styles for different opponents. And you've seen it. If you watch my first 7 fights, you'll see the difference. The first fight, the third fight, fifth fight. And I was more relaxed, sitting down. And I was knocking people out. I knocked 6 of the guys out of the set. And my first 12 fights, I had 11 knockouts. I was number 5 in the world at that point.
Amazing how quickly. Don't get me wrong, I've seen some high level amateurs progress into the pro ranks, and I mean, obviously Lomachenko is probably the most,
Yeah, he's
the obvious one to point to, but there's been a lot of others who've gone in and very quickly been fast tracked. But it sounds like you were fast tracked, but with all the experience and the fights that perhaps these days a modern fighter might only have in 2.5 years before they get to that point. You had them in months, right?
And Lomachenko, I loved him from the Olympics. He rushes a bit. He wanted to fight for a belt right away.
Yeah.
The second fight loses.
Salido, yeah.
But he came back again. But, I would have said, let me fight for world title my first, second fight, because I had the experience from the amateur.
Yeah.
But it's different. It's different. The pro ranks are different.
No, I'm sure.
And it didn't hurt Lomachenko. No, it didn't hurt him at all.
No, not at all. A loss. I mean, I don't know how you feel about wins and losses, but to me, it seems like all of the greatest fighters in history have taken a loss. Literally, all of the
Exactly, and it depends who you lose to, no matter.
Yeah, and how you lose. Yeah. Great. Okay, so look, great start to the show. Let's get into the amateur days a little bit. We've touched on them slightly there. You had a record of 300 odd fights and I think about 100 knockouts. Is that right?
Yeah, but the funny thing is, my record as my knockout ratio in the amateurs, I had 12 straight knockout wins. And that was the international level. I knocked the late Tour Gaviria, a Cuban, Scottish kid, national champion twice. I had over 100 knockouts. KO. They weren't like one punch knockouts, but they were like, blah, 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 blah. But there's still stoppage.
I was going to ask you why do you think it was that? Because I watch a lot of amateur boxing and I'm around a lot of amateur boxing. Of course, that you get mismatches, which is down to sometimes poor matchmaking. But actually, when, like you say, when you got international fighters fighting each other at good caliber, and you're just talking about Arturo Gatti as an example, and other national champions, and high level guys who went on to have great careers. For you to stop 100 fighters as an amateur, like you're talking about volume there, but it's
a
very unique.
Volume the output, and I would start slow in the first round and come strong the second, third.
Yeah.
That's the program always suited me better. The accumulation. As a kid, I trained in the gym fast and hard and boom, punches. And everybody thought the way I trained, when I get to the fight, I'm going to burn out in 2 rounds. But the way I was a kid, I get stronger. And I always said the foundation was always laid because as a kid, 17, 13-year-old, 11-year-old, I'm running the hills where I live, beside where I live. It was like a hill, we're up like mountains, and I could run up there maybe twice a week. The hill was so steep, but it give me that endurance here, and I would say give me that turbo boost when I turned pro. You know what I mean? I always kept that, and I always do a lot of punches, and most people thought I'm going to burn out because if you throw that many punches, you can't get stronger. But I did get stronger. Each round, professional ranks. Still, I could throw 100 punches in the 5th round and throw 150 in the 12th round.
Yeah, it's unusual that. It's unusual.
It's unusual. So I just think I'm unusual.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, it came with you said about your defensive capability.
I had a good chin.
Sorry?
I had a good chin as well.
Yeah. I mean, that was clear. The famous quote from Larry Merchant. There's no two ways he was spot on the money with that, right?
Yeah, you see a picture of it. You see tough Irishman in the dictionary. You'll see a picture of Will McCullough. Love that. It's good quote, Larry.
It's brilliant. So did you did you enjoy your amateur days better than the pro days?
At the start, I did. I started off boxing, but 7 years old, 8 years old, my first fight. My 2 older brothers, like 6 and 7 years older, and my oldest brother came up with a wee trophy about this side, and I'm like, I want one of them. But I was playing football. I played football right through primary school, secondary school.
Yeah.
Did cross country running, did a bit of rugby, did a bit of field hockey, cross country running. I just love boxing. Boxing was one-on-board and one-on-one. I was better at it. It's like a lot of players are good at football, but different getting the next level.
Yeah, definitely.
I mean, boxing, I could get the next level.
Yeah, great. So fun. Sorry to interrupt you. Go on.
No, I won my first boys club championship at 11 years old.
Right.
From then on, I sort of went all up.
And the process of becoming an international and representing Ireland, being this fighter that became internationally renowned as a top amateur with a succession of major championship medals, was that an enjoyable process to be traveling the world? I mean, I'm assuming it was, but I mean, did you prefer that to the pro game, or was the pro game something new that took your love for boxing even further?
Well, I think my first major competition for Ireland was really Seoul, Korea, the Olympics. Before that, I was 16, turned 17 that year, the senior year, and I won the Irish youth, Irish under 18, Irish juniors, and Irish seniors all within 7 months or something. So 4 national championships. I was 17 when I beat the national champion. I stopped in the 3rd round, and that was Olympic year. And then I knocked the Scottish kid out, fought the national champion again, stopped him again, fought a Cuban, knocked him out, fought a Turgani, knocked him out. That was 12 in a row, and then they still weren't going to send me to the Olympics. And at that point, I thought, I'm probably not good enough to get a medal, but the experience I would gain by just being there.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
And I was just turning 18 because the Olympics that year was September, October.
Yeah.
And I turned 18 in July. But they wanted to send me to the junior instead of the Olympics, and I'm like, I had the best record probably of every Irish guy ever, 12 knockouts in a row. And then they ended up sending me. Got a ban in the first round, won my second fight, and then lost to Scotty Olsen. Next fight would have been for fighting for medal, but I wasn't disappointed. You experience, you can't buy experience.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, you go back to the point we were making before about professionals who lose. If you learn from it and you become a better fighter afterwards, then there's nothing lost, is there? It's just all about
right. See, at that level in the amateur, you're losing that at the Olympic level, top level. So there's no shame in it. Just makes you stronger to come back the next time, which it did happen. Same to pro ranks. If you can lose that fight early on, then you can get back stronger.
Okay, so what would you say were the best aspects of being an amateur boxer before we move on to other subjects?
Amateur boxing, say for me, was I loved it, but I loved the pro ranks better.
Yeah.
You know, as a 15, 16, 17-year-old, like say my oldest brother was not my oldest, my second oldest brother was a pro. He got a detached retina, but he used to spar down in Barney Eastwood's gym in Belfast. And Barney Eastwood, he was the main guy. Had the gym. Had South Americans, Venezuelan kids, all Colombians, all in the gym together. And Fidel Bassa, who fought Dave McCullough twice, beat Dave McCullough twice. Dave McCullough was there. Paul Hunton, WBC featherweight champion from Liverpool, that trained there. Then when I was a 15, 16-year-old with my brother, and I'm sparring with these guys.
Amazing.
And they weren't trying to rip my head up, but they loved the work that I was giving them for the output, and so they asked me to come back and spar more. And back then, the amateur program did not allow you to spar with pros. But what they don't know doesn't hurt you, know.
Yeah. Suppose
I was
so.
getting down and training that gym, and Barney Eastwood gym was like it was like Vegas. It was like a sauna. In the winter time, back home, it was so cold. Going down that gym, it's like shorts and t-shirts. Oh, it's break sweat. This is easy to make weight. And that was part of the reason Barney Eastwood let me train there too. So it was fun. The experience I picked up was priceless. It helped me in the adaptation from amateur to pro.
Yeah, that's it. That's a really interesting point, because I'm very mindful that for a top amateur to just transition into the pros, there's a number of little tricks of the trade. There's a number of different elements of the sport. I mean, just framing with your lead hand as an example, that you can't really get away with as much in the amateur game as but top pros generally do that almost as a, it's like a.
But the amateur program, they say in 2001, they had the World Amateur Championship in Belfast. And I was actually doing the commentary, and every night we had a show on for BBC, talked about the fights and stuff, and I did actually free training clinics around Ireland, and I did it for free to teach the trainers how to teach the kids. And I think two of them were all for it. Didn't want to know. And that was Eddie's words. Even coaches can learn. And I said, if you teach the coaches how to teach the fighters, don't have the same style. Every fighter had a different style. And Eddie had that niche just to teach people different. I say when I came here, Riddick Bowe was a heavyweight champion. Mike McCullough was a 3-time world champion. The late, great Mike McCullough. Montel Griffin, who fought the Olympics for the American team. He was here. And we all had 4 different styles of fighting. So instead of Eddie making us fight the same, he made us better. The problem back home, a lot of them are just doing that little fence bouncing, bum, chin, like hands up like that, down here like that. And then when they turn pro, it's hard to make the adaptation over. It fits the amateurs. The gloves are a lot bigger today than they were back in the day. They're like 12 ounces now. That used to be 10 ounces. So maybe that's why I was stopping people.
Well, maybe, yeah. I was certainly.
No, you didn't have to wear headgear. Didn't have to wear headgear around there.
Okay.
When I was younger.
Okay. Yeah,
but it's down to the trainers. The training.
Yeah.
They got learn how to adapt. Of course, that was in 2001. I was going to go over there and become a national coach as well, the Irish national coach. And the president of Ireland, the one from Northern Ireland, they were all for it. And then 2002 came, 2003, 2004. And then I thought about moving over there in 2002, but then they didn't want it. And then all of a sudden they start the high performance. But they're still teaching the people the exact same way that like this and stuff. And I always say, like Katie Taylor got a gold that put Ireland on the map. But she already won like 5 world championships before that.
Yeah.
Nobody even knew who she was then.
Yeah.
But she was already established as an amateur. In 92, we got a gold and a silver on the same day with Nicholas Cruz Hernandez. And from that point forward, we've won silvers and bronzes. Men's, just in the men's. Forget about the women. There was no women in boxing in 92. So since then, what's Ireland's best Olympics is males, 92. There was no money. no high performance training. Nicholas is there, and Nicholas is actually living in Ireland right now. He's kicked to the side.
Yes, yeah.
Because the success of the Katie Taylor was, to me, that Katie Taylor was going to win a gold no matter what, believe me.
Yeah.
No matter-
I mean, she's. I said,
Wasn't it-
she is a bit of an island on her own, isn't she? In some respects.
Yeah, she was, like, over here, Teresa Shields,
Yeah.
he was going to win a gold as well. She won world championships, but nobody knew who they were because world championships, multi-nations are not on TV, but the Olympic platform helped women's boxing. And Felicia Shields and Katie Taylor are responsible for that.
Yeah. No,
To put the
definitely.
women on the map.
Definitely. So, what one question to finish on amateur boxing before we move on? How long have you been in the US now? 28 odd years?
I've been here 32 and a half years.
32 now, of course. Yeah. Okay. You'll have seen a lot of changes, and I mean, one thing that's really clear to me is that the US doesn't end up on the podium as much as I expected it to in amateur world championships, in Olympics. How do you see the state of US boxing? And I don't feel like they're producing.
I've reached out to the American coach here a few times.
Yeah.
And the American coach here is an Irish guy, Billy Walsh.
Yes, yeah, of course, yeah.
He did the Irish team, and he was on the Olympic team with me in '88. And he always said, "Oh, there's no positions open." I said, "Let me teach these guys different styles for different fighters." No, it's okay with Billy. He's my friend, but friends help friends.
Yeah.
If they don't want it, it's fine, because I can teach somebody as an amateur, but I can also teach somebody as a pro. I can teach different ways. I say people can't teach that. Well, I've got a long way to go as a coach to learn. But you get the likes of Freddie Roach and Buddy McGirt today are probably the only two coaches sort of living today that I can learn from.
Yeah.
Buddy McGirt, especially, he's defensively brilliant. But the rest of the old coaches are all gone, you know what I mean? They're all gone. So Eddie passed on to me what he had. And on the wall, see, I've got a certificate that he signed for me to be a coach someday. And I'm the only one to give it to. And
So he saw something in you.
Yeah, a little gold pen from 1938 Golden Gloves as well he gave to me. Because I was close to Eddie until he passed away at 90. He loved to see my daughter. She was young. Loved to see her come down and visit. But he just sitting down and talking to him like this, you know, he's like modern day Wikipedia.
Yeah, I'm
Back
sure.
then there wasn't computers and stuff. But now he was just sitting telling me about how he used to spar with Joe Lewis. I'm like, Joe Lewis? I'm like, they talked about Henry Armstrong, who he compared me with. So it's stuff like that. It's like going to college for 4 years. You know, I learned that from Eddie, and a lot of coaches today, you say to him, who taught you? And they go like this, I taught myself. I'm like, what? But they have fighters and they have some success. They have some success.
Yeah, I mean, so would you say then you think it's perhaps down to a lack of experienced coaches being able to influence the development of younger coaches in the US?
Some coaches, not all the coaches. Some coaches are not willing to learn.
Yeah.
And you get to that point, you're not willing to learn. How can you grow? So if you think, I know everything. Well, if you know everything, and Eddie used to say, if you know everything as a fighter or a boxer, it's time to retire.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You're done. Because what's the point? You're always going to learn something to the day you give it up, the day you retire.
Sure.
And that's coming from, I believe, the best coach ever lived. So I'm going to listen to him.
There's a lot of reliance on sports science these days. Do you think perhaps there's an over-reliance on sports science?
The sports science, boxing is called the sweet science. And the sweet science of boxing is the fundamentals of defense, offense, slick boxing. Getting a personal trainer to condition coach, nutritionist. That's fine. I have no problem with people doing that. But Muhammad Ali, the greatest fighter that probably ever lived, didn't have a nutritionist or a condition coach.
Yeah.
Anybody gets in their ring for 3 minutes and spars somebody else. That's the best condition you're going to get in your life. You can't breathe. That's conditioning. And I always did like sit-ups, push-ups, light weights. And that was conditioned back then for me. And I didn't have a condition coach. I didn't need one. I'm one of the fittest fighters ever lived. And today they want that. You know, stop for a second, hold your pulse. I'm a qualified sports nutritionist as well. I did a course for like 3 years and learned how to make weight properly for boxing. But I focus on boxing. You know what I mean? If somebody else has a condition coach or something like that, I'm okay with it. I'm not going to say, oh, that's wrong.
Sure.
You know, just say, okay, no problem. And I did that. It's fine. I'll bring him on board and part of the team. You know what I mean? So the fighter's happy with it. If they interrupt it, it's different. But I've had people who come in board and they're perfect. Everybody stays in line. And it works.
I'm with you. Yeah. I mean, it's interesting it's nice to hear that you focus on the boxing, you know, it's teaching, right? Isn't it as well? It's not just about, I'm directing you to go and hit the bag. I'm directing you to go and spar. You're actually stopping them and
if I say
teaching.
If a fighter going to hit the bag, I'll say, just like we did in the midst the last 3 or 4 rounds.
Yeah.
Practice out on the bag.
Yeah. Yeah.
You can hit the bag for 10 rounds and do nothing. Or you can work on the bag and I'll say, okay, this round working your jab, next round working your footwork, next round just working defense. So you get more out of it. Doing 3 or 4 rounds, you do 10 rounds. That's something that most coaches don't really teach.
Yeah. Yeah.
Everybody's going to say, oh, he said about coaches, he said about coaches. I'm telling the truth.
Look, but there's a respectful way to do it. You're not calling anyone names. You're not.
I'm not calling anybody names.
Of course
and
not.
I say, well, Billy's my friend.
Yep.
He always will be.
Yeah. Yeah.
Everybody can need help.
Of course. Yeah. Yeah. And you can also disagree on stuff as well, right? Because there's a number of different ways to win. And in my experience, I genuinely believe that what I see in fighters, that some fighters are going to be great with one trainer and they're not going to be great with another trainer for whatever reason that is. And maybe that's just nature. That's just the way things are.
You have to click.
Yeah.
You know, if there's no communication or you're not getting on with each other. Eddie did a video one time, like between one of my fights, interviewed him, and he said the first thing he does with the fighter is wants to become the fighter's friend. Because if you're somebody's friend, you do the best thing for your friend.
Yeah. Yeah.
And them quotes are like, okay. Because you want to feel like your family in the gym.
Yeah.
You know, you don't want that atmosphere. You're like, well, here we go, I'm going to train him again. You do want to be the guy.
Yeah.
You want to feel like you just click with each other and it's like family.
Which is interesting because if you take Abel Sanchez, for example, when he speaks, I listen. I think he's one of the most articulate boxing brains out there.
Yeah.
But he's a little bit different to what you just described Eddie Futch as, in terms of he sets what he feels he needs to do is set the agenda, is to say this is how we do things and you need to kind of follow that. And there's not so much of that family. There's that fatherly figure in terms of that, but it's old school. It's I said it like this. He's not trying to connect first. He's setting the agenda, and eventually the connection comes out of the respect because of the results in the ring, the results outside the ring, and they can both be great trainers in their own right.
He's right. It's respect as well. If you don't respect your coach, how can he train you? You know, you have to respect. And if I say, do this, and then I go in the ring with somebody else a little bit, but they're not doing it, I just say to them, you know what? You're not cheating me.
Yeah, you're cheating yourself. Yeah.
And I said every day in the gym you can learn.
Yeah.
You miss 2 or 3 days in the gym, just 2 or 3 days of not learning.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
Either way, respect, being a friend, they both work.
Yeah.
But you just don't want to have that angry thing that you don't hate each other. I have to train here today. Respect and being a friend is pretty much the same.
Yeah. No, definitely. And I mean, the funny thing was listening to him say that, he talked about Golovkin being the leader. Yeah. And if Golovkin actually listens and you see the results in the ring, everyone else just follows, right? It's easy to get. It's a bit harder when someone starts to take 2 or 3 losses on the bounce, and then you see the real, the character, and it reveals character, doesn't it? Boxing and
somebody doesn't listen to him. If somebody listened to Golovkin, say he was saying, "Oh, I don't want to do this, I don't want to do that." The other kid's coming up like, "Oh, I can just say I don't want to do that," because it's like they follow the pattern.
Absolutely.
And it's different today.
So what would you say your principles are as a coach then, Wayne?
As a coach, as I say, if you do what I tell you to do, you can go a long way. I say, if you don't do what I tell you to do, you're not going to make it. And if you do make it, maybe you just have raw talent. But even with raw talent, you still can. Sometimes you just fall to the wayside.
Yeah.
Back home, I say a lot of kids, in Belfast who were good football players. You know, and some of my friends actually made it to the Premier League and stuff, but Norman Whiteside was from my school.
Yeah.
You know, so some make it, some fall to the side. Because over there, it's like, you could be good in the Irish League and stuff like that. But if somebody says, do you want to come play the Premier League? And you say, no, I'm good over here. You're not going to get any better. You're going to stay there.
Yeah.
And if somebody says you want to Premier League, like, bags packed, let's go.
I'm with you. It's funny. I mean, Norman Whiteside, what a precocious talent, but must have been very, very difficult to coach, right?
Yeah, Norman, he was a gifted kid. No, George Best is from, my wife, she's from East Belfast. She come from up the street where he lived. Like, George Best was, as a kid, everybody wanted to be George Best. And he was gifted. He was gifted. And he never played in the World Cup.
Yeah.
Even Pelé said it of his own lips that George Best was the best player ever seen. Look at how he quoted that. It was true. Met him. I met both Norman Whiteside and George Best. Both guys are humble, great people. Really are.
Yeah.
And it's good to see somebody, especially from where I came from, West Belfast. Norman Whiteside was from like the Shankill Road area where I came from. George Best from my wife's neighborhood. It's a small little pad. And you throw them names in the hat. I mean, it's like best player in the world champion. It's unbelievable. Norman's career was cut short because of injury.
Yeah. I dare say Norman Whiteside. I dare say Norman Whiteside would say the same about you, though, Wayne. Right? He's super proud of him, watching all your fights and cheering you.
In 2003, and I was doing a documentary together, and I just first time I met him, great person.
Fantastic.
You know, see, he went to my school and everything. He was like, as he was leaving school, I was just starting first year. Look at he was brilliant. Good person. Met Geordie Bennett. He was just sweet as pie. You know what I mean? It's good to meet people like that from my area. Because my area is not known as a great area. It's known for the shootings and the bombs and stuff like that.
Sadly, yeah.
And you bring a bit of positivity to it. It's good.
Yeah, it's good. Let's just talk about boxing in terms of the impact it has on people and on young people. I mean, how do you see, as an example, in Las Vegas, how do you see boxing changing communities there, and how do you compare that with how it changes communities back in Ireland?
In Vegas, there's a lot of amateur gyms, you know, a few pro gyms, but there's not as much people in boxing today as there was, I think, back in the 90s.
Right.
Back home, they've always had good amateur programs, but the professional programs, it's not good.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You have to have both. Over here, you got the pro trainers as well. And when I first came here, Vegas had fights, maybe 4 or 5 big fights a year. Used to be Caesar's Palace outdoors, but that arena's gone now. And then you had maybe club amateur shows every couple of weeks. But now they have maybe 1, 2 big cards a year, like the Canelo Crawford card last week. Amateur, maybe 5 or 6 years, terrible. You know, it's a boxing capital. It wasn't known as the boxing capital, known as the boxing capital and the entertainment capital, because they have the Raiders Stadium and where they had the fight last week.
Sure.
They have the hockey team, the Knights hockey team. You know, so that, and they're getting the baseball team here in 3 years. The Oakland A's professional team. And they've got a small team here up in Summerton, like a minor team. But boxing's always been the sport here in Vegas, the boxing capital. And it's not the way it used to be. You know, it's not as many cards. And I think it's coming down to money nowadays. You know, the fighters are getting paid a lot of money, a lot more money than the late Muhammad Ali got.
Yeah.
The equivalent.
I'm amazed at how much it sounds like it's dropped off. I mean, I still have a vision in my head that there's small community cards, there's like the equivalent of small hall shows going on. But are you saying that
there should be? I had a small card last week, 2 days before the big card, but it was called the undercard. It was called the undercard off the main card.
Yeah.
So it was part of that card for the main thing, just like 4 or 5 fights, and the arena was empty. Like up where I live here, I live about 8 miles from the stadium, west. And if you weren't in the boxing, you wouldn't know where the fight happened. You know, you
Wow.
don't walk up to go and see a poster or anything or nothing. You wouldn't even know you wouldn't even know the fight on. If I'm a promoter, a boxing person, I would put say this the grocery store around the corner. Can we put a poster here? The local community centre, can we put a poster up? Most people that go to the fights nowadays, people come out of town. They all fly in.
Yeah, yeah.
So the locals are just sitting at home. Oh, there's a fight yesterday. I didn't even know.
That's sad though, isn't it? I mean, you know, because the question I'm asking you is about the impact of boxing on people and the community. You know,
This community here, no, I get you. This community here, my neighbours, they all know me. I'm a boxer here. They all know, see my
course,
gym.
yeah,
They
yeah.
love the gym. They all come up and they watch and stuff. But apart from that, they wouldn't know it was a fight card next week. There's no,
Wow.
I say there's grocery stores around the corner, there's some shops, and there's no posters up or anything. So unless you are watching boxing, the boxing person, you'll not know there's a fight on. Not all boxing people should go to a fight. There could be people who just want to go to a fight.
Yeah.
But they don't even know it's on. If they don't watch like TV or a computer on the certain websites, they're not going to know anything.
And the local kids, I mean, those who do get into sports, are they getting into other sports other than boxing?
Well, over here, it's American football, basketball, hockey,
Yeah.
ice hockey, and baseball. And I like watching football. These great fast. Basketball, I watch sometimes slow, but I watch it. And then to say the baseball too. I was actually for the minor team up here the other night, threw the pitch out for them the other night.
Yeah.
Because they had an Irish night.
I think I saw that on your feed, actually,
I
on
got
your
the guys love.
socials.
At least I reached the love.
Amazing. It must have been a
was
cool
fun.
experience.
And the funny thing, the last time I did that here was 30 years previous when I won the world title. Was for the Las Vegas Stars team at a different place. And now this new team step up from them. And now we're bringing a professional team, which is going to be on right beside the MGM Grand on the street. They're building the arena. That'll grow sport. Boxing don't have a main arena. They have a MGM, T-Mobile, Legion, but they're not just for boxing. You know, the T-Mobile's for the hockey team.
So what's the demographic of kids that you get in your gym now? Now, are you getting kind of middle class kids who are more sort of being pushed by their parents, or you get kids off the street?
From this, I have a kid who lives 2 doors off of me. He's only a 14-year-old, and he comes in and trains. But most of mine are from like North Las Vegas. Didn't come from great areas, but they come down here, drive their car down, and come in and train. I've got some older people who can do the masters. The masters is over 35, and I've got one who was in the military, and boxing helps him mentally too. I say I've got some young amateurs who are 19, 20, some want to go pro, but they're not turning up every day.
Yeah. Wow. Okay.
No, so I've got a few pros. Got 2 Irish kids, Matthew and Sean Tyndale, who moved over here 2 months ago to train with me. Sean's 1-0 as a pro. Matthew's 7-1. He had one bump on the road before he came here. He fought the Irish champ. He was a little bit too early. He just turned 23 the other day, and Sean's just turned 20. But both kids they're going to be champions. Matthew beat Callum Walsh in the Apples in 2019.
Yeah, so that's some caliber then at that stage in his
That's
career.
good. And both guys have had medals in Europeans and stuff.
So it's interesting you mentioned him, because tell me a little bit about Aaron McKenna, what your perspective is on his journey, because I believe he spent a lot of time over there.
McKenna's bro, they were in LA for a long time with Ken Fear, and he was like, I met the kids that were in here. They were in here, held the mitzvah and stuff. The dad and them too. They're good kids. I mean, it was the other one lost. He got lost in there. We call it Stevie.
Stephen, yeah.
He got lost. They're good kids.
And did they? I mean, because the way I read their
career, if they were here,
yeah, because I mean, Aaron put on such a great performance against Liam Smith. You know, when a lot of people, it didn't matter how much Liam Smith had left, he's still an experienced operator, right?
No, he didn't have what he used to have, but Aaron still beat him.
Yeah, and boxed beautifully, boxed absolutely beautifully.
You know what I mean? But he does learn. He needs the defense.
Yeah,
there's no question about that. The defense is important, and people. I've said it all the time. I did have a good shape, but I never got wobbled. I never even got wobbled in the fight, never been dropped. That's saying a lot, know what I mean? So why not come to me and I'll teach you how to do this and this?
And we're talking about of the likes of Morales and Hamed, both of whom could whack.
Two of the
right?
best. They were pound for pound at the time.
Yeah.
You know, me and Hamed run away from me.
Incredible. I mean, the Morales fight, particularly, I think people talk
The
about
war.
him at the end of the 9th round being on the verge of quitting, but I felt watching it from the footage that I saw that actually at the end of the 10th round, he was almost horizontal in his corner. He was
I
almost
wish you would have
horizontal.
stopped. I wish you would have stopped.
Yeah.
No, we're good friends. And Hamed, I'm good friends with him. I said to him, Morales calls me crazy. He says, you're loco.
Yeah.
I'm like, yep. And he said it was the second toughest fight of his career, so I'll take that. And Hamed, I talked to him a couple of years ago. He called me 3 years ago. And the first thing he said to me is, you hurt me when you hit me. I'm like, yep. So we can have a banter back and forward. You know what I mean? And I believe to this day I beat Hamed. He ran from me. I was fighting a corporate. It was on HBO. He signed a multi-million-dollar deal with HBO right before my fight. George Foreman, the late great Foreman, thought I won the fight. But I wasn't disappointed because I knew by moving up in weight, going into that fight, what I had to do.
And then he went back down to fight Morales as well, right?
Sorry? If I knock him out, they made give me a draw. What were you going to say?
I mean, it was clear that he was the house fighter. There's no two ways about that.
But there's no shame in it. No, I'm glad to share the ring with them guys.
Without a doubt, legends, and it's not just one either. I think if you'd have had one performance like that, where going to the scorecards, we really didn't know what was going to happen.
And even when I fought Yakushishi in Japan, that's a T-shirt there. You see a T-shirt 30 years ago. He was rated top in the division. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Defensive belt, he was unstoppable.
Yeah.
Going to Japan, I didn't know at the time I was going to become the first Irish British fighter to go to Japan and win a world title. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
But I did it. And he never fought again.
Unbelievable. And that says a lot, doesn't it, about what you're putting through in the fight.
Yeah. But it was the guys that got you fought back then. And I fought the best three guys in 3 different divisions.
Yeah. 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 I mean,
win or lose, I still fought the best in 3 divisions. Who does that today? Crawford?
Yeah, Crawford. Exactly. We're a very special talent. I mean, look, you add that to your amateur career, Wayne, and it stands up there with some of the greatest, certainly British fighters ever.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
It's an incredible career, and I mean, I remember I'm 47 now, and I remember
you're a puppy. I'm 55.
Yeah, I know, but the thing is, I look my age. You don't.
No, you can take this makeup off.
Which is amazing given the amount of wax you took.
I always laugh. I always tell people, I got plastic surgery. You feel like, yeah, they punched me. I made my face the way it is. I used to be like this.
But I remember particularly the Barcelona Olympics. I mean, 88 was the first Olympics I really remember.
Yeah.
But I particularly remember the Barcelona Olympics and, the penchant for blonde highlights, right?
I love blonde. Well, don't make fun of that.
Oh, look, we've all done it. But it was
grey highlights. Grey highlights.
But the tracksuits as well. They were like shell suits almost in those days, weren't they?
Yeah, the shell suit, baggy suits. Thought they were cool.
And it's just, for people who love the sport, like I did as a young man, maybe McGuigan, Steve Cruz broke my heart type of thing. It was it was that kind of, era where I'm going into the 92 Olympics and you see Linford Christie winning gold medal, in the 100. You're seeing what you did. You're seeing these absolute heroes of the sport. And that's just as an amateur for you before you then went on and fought Julie Jones and Morales and Hamed.
People watched it. People watched the Olympics then.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because you had very little to watch on TV and everybody watched the Olympics. But nowadays, nobody really watches anything. Really don't. It's different.
No.
You always look forward to a big fight the weekend or something, or maybe Wednesday night to have a big fight or something. But not anymore.
But that might be another reason. I mean, there's been a number of things we've touched on in this conversation that kind of point towards boxing not really being where it was before. And it's probably not the only sport like that. But back in those days, you know, you watch Wayne McCullough win a silver medal in the Olympics, and you go outside and you set out a little ring and you have a little move around. And
you missed that's what you did.
Exactly.
That's what I did when I used to watch fighters too. I used to go out there and think it was this. Barry was my hero when I was like I was 20 and the kid.
And the same with the football, or the same, because you didn't have very much of it on the television. You were inspired by it, and maybe that's one of the reasons why there aren't streams of kids heading to boxing gyms these days, because there's so much on the TV that just get bored of it.
You're right. You watched the match on TV. They were out in the street start playing.
Absolutely,
you did.
Even Wimbledon. I was never really a tennis player, but I'd come out after Wimbledon and I'd have a knockabout.
I used to go and get the prop. We used to play tennis up at the school. You were motivated by it. That's what it did for you. It made you feel like, let's do this. And maybe some kids did that and they were actually good at it, so they decided to do it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Some kids don't realize they're good at something until they try it.
But it does make you think about the future of the sport, the future of boxing, and you know, this is.
I think it can do well with Dana White and Al Sheikh, that card last week. I think it was a bit of a flop. I know Dana personally, and I would love to help him. I know I can help him push boxing and do the right things. Like if there's a fight on here, let's put the poster around the corner.
Yes, yeah.
You know, do that, because I say there was very few locals at that fight. It was all, and I think a lot of tickets were given away as well.
Yeah.
If you step into boxing for the first time, you can't start at the top. You got to build a foundation. If you build a foundation in anything, it'll stay standing.
Absolutely. But if there isn't the volume of kids going into gyms. I mean, I'm reading the Cornermen, the book at the moment. You know, going back to Stillman's gym and all of, you know, Ray Arcel and all these, you know, all these amazing trainers who created this rich history of the sport, and a lot of them came from one place, or you know, 2 or 3 places, and that there isn't really an epicenter now of boxing. It's just wherever the money is, and it feels like kids aren't inspired.
There's so much money.
Yeah.
You know, the fighters were making good money in my day. They wouldn't make this type of money today. But are you going to give in to the money? You know, because we're trying to scrap all the belts. WBC, WBA, IBF, WBC, WBA did around 63. And I always say that if you do take the Ring Magazine belt, has been around for a long time.
Yeah.
That was more like a bonus belt that you got when you were number 1 in the Ring Magazine. Amongst the 4 champions, you get the ring belt. But so that was like a prize. But if you take him away and have that one, Muhammad Ali was always known with the WBC belt. Modern day, Floyd Mayweather have a dozen WBC belts. And Canelo the other night, they were trying to not put over his shoulder. And Mauricio put over his shoulder. They were going to try to stop him from getting in the ring. Mauricio Sullivan, the president of WBC, which is, how does that help? You know, if you're coming in as a different promoter, work with people.
Yeah.
You know, do this, do that. They're talking about the Muhammad Ali Act getting took away as well.
Yeah, that's frightening, really, in my opinion.
How does that help?
Yeah, it doesn't.
It does help box. It helps this one. The checkbook.
Yeah. But you can't. I mean, you couldn't convince me that is in any way a good move for boxing and boxers.
But why did they bring the Muhammad Ali back on board? To protect fighters?
Yeah.
From contracts and stuff. But we'll see what happens. I say Dana and the Sheik guy, maybe they'll reach out to me.
I hope so. They need to get people who understand the sport. I mean, look, it's great having everyone brings something to the table, right? And at the moment, they don't seem to have enough boxing people who really understand grassroots all the way through to the very highest level.
People want to be around them people for fame.
Yeah, not for good.
And money. You know, you do it for the right, to help boxing, not to help fighters, just to help boxing. Both ways. Promoters, managers, fighters can all be helped, and they'll get to a point where they're going to work with each other and not be monopolized by one promoter. You know?
And look, if they got, I mean, they've brought Teddy Atlas on board, right? He's been out to Saudi a few times. They've had Frank Gilfeather, who's been on this show, fantastic guy. You know, Joe Gallagher working with the gyms in Saudi Arabia. If you get 4 or 5 guys, put you in the room with these guys, and you form some kind of advisory sort of group from a boxing perspective that covers all of these angles, but so much experience in that route. It's got to it's got to help the likes of Dana White and Turkey Al Sheikh understand not just that. Of course, they understand what Frank Warren and Eddie Hearn want in this life, but I think everyone understands what they want.
But you brought them together.
He did, and that's actually a good thing. But obviously,
it's a good thing, but is it real?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I genuinely.
I hope it is. I hope it is.
Yeah, yeah. I do as well. Just because you wouldn't want them to turn around and take throw the toys out the pram as soon as that Saudi money's disappeared, because everyone would feel in some way shortchanged by it, and it'd be quite bitter, wouldn't it?
Yeah, well, I think Al Sheikh's he's trying to help. You have to start at the bottom.
Yeah, exactly.
But if you've got money, you can go to the top right away.
And that's the problem, isn't
it?
it?
Telephone number money, people. It's up to the fighters to give into that or stand against it and say, look, we want to keep these belts, we want to do this, that. And we'll see what happens. I hope it works out best for both. Can that just fight? I know some fighters that it can be just like a promoter.
Of course, yeah.
Not pay you, not do this, do that. Been there before. Do I understand that? It's got to work for both.
Yeah. No, I'm with you. Yeah, I mean, it's if you just fill in the pockets of the top 1% of pro fighters, then you're not really looking after the sport, are you? So there's got to be some.
Well, that's the point I would get across to like Dana and the Sheik guy, because everybody thinks boxing is they're all making fortune because they see the 50 million that they're making up here. But as a pro, when you turn pro without any amateur experience, say you won a regional championship or something, I've got 2 guys now who can't even get fights for. Not the Irish kids. Can't get fights. It's hard to get them in fights unless I pay. I got to pay to put them on the card.
Yeah.
I got to pay the opponent's purse. I got to pay the opponent's expenses. And my guy might get nothing. That's to build your fighter up.
Yeah.
A promoter is supposed to build your fighter up.
Yeah.
They want you to go down when they're 7-0, 8-0, 9-0. To me, that should be illegal because you're a professional athlete.
Yeah.
But the top guys are making this, so like Al Sheikh and Dana, they should know this is happening and say, okay, let's make a minimum for fighters. Even a kid from Tijuana, make a minimum of $2,000. If somebody can fight for $2,000, the minimum, but all expenses are paid. You have the other fighters don't have to pay your expenses. Why not do that?
Yeah. Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. It makes a lot of sense because there's got to be a lot of really talented fighters who look at it and say, I've got to sell 50 tickets just to break even here or whatever on the UK circuit. And they can go and work on a building site and earn twice as much money as they could ever.
Yeah, my kid, Matthew Tyndale, who beat Calmons, the amateurs. He's 7-1 now. We got offered the other day, I had to pay, it was going to be $5,200. And I'm like, what? So, and I've reached out to everybody. I've reached out to Dana White as well. Tried to get him on the card here. Out of 9 fights on the card, there was one local guy, Fernando Vargas Jr.
Yes, yeah.
Which, if Matthew and Sean, if they'd have put them on the card, they were going to be fighting in Las Vegas. So, but they're local kids. But to have one local fighter on the 9 fights was terrible.
Yeah, I agree. Especially when you've created that other small hall version on the Wednesday beforehand. It's a great platform to be able to demonstrate some commitment to the sport that way.
I'm just getting used to people saying, "Oh no, the card's filled up. Oh no, the card's filled up."
Yeah.
And you know what? It'll come around. It'll come around again. I know what people that I've known for a long time, and just no. Oh, you can put them on for this much. You can put them on for this much. I'm like, seriously? The kids moved here out of their own expense. They're living in an apartment around the corner for their own expense. They haven't got no money coming in. Their dad back home has his own building company, and he's funding their kids to be here. Because he did that because he knows the training's here. I've known them since they were kids, and they wanted to be here for the last 5 or 6 years. And now they're old enough to come here. They're here.
I mean, it's the dream, right? It's the dream, and it's the sacrifice as well. And look,
yeah, well, I've got 2 kids who did that sacrifice, and they can't get them fights. Terrible. I can get to pay $5,000 and get them on a card, no problem.
Yeah.
Where do they get $5,000 from?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, I mean, it is a really sad state of affairs, and there's got to be something. You know, when you see the money that you know, let's say Usyk and Dubois made, you know, the
Yeah, and I
numbers.
have no problem with them guys making that money. When you turn professional, you get your professional boxing license. It should be illegal for you to have to pay for it to get a win.
Yeah. Well, the thing is but you know, I understand that someone's got to create the money. Like the money has to come from somewhere, and if you're losing
Yeah,
money on the show,
but a lot of
I
these
get it.
promoters, yeah, promoters put the card on, and you say, "Can I be on that card?" And say, "Oh, you can be on this card," but you got to pay the opponent's purse and the expenses and your expenses. They're still going to promote a card, and whatever tickets are sold, they get the money.
Yeah. Yeah.
As I always say, do a minimum. Say, you know what? I can put you on the card for $500. I'll pay your expenses, pay the other guy's expenses. Then you get 2 fighters on the card.
Yeah.
A real fight without anybody dipping their hand in their pockets. Because when most kids are starting off, they haven't got any money.
Yeah. Of course. No, definitely.
You know, I was
not.
broke, so I say I was fortunate because the Olympics, I got a contract.
Yeah, I was going to say. I mean, you were such a high level athlete before you turned pro that, you know, there was obviously a lot of.
But that's what it is. If you're a high level athlete, but if you're not, let's say you missed out on going to the Olympics, you're still maybe a national champion. But don't look at it like that. They don't. They don't. They just look at the Olympics. That's it, really.
And yet, it feels to me like in the UK, those fighters have more of a chance than they do in the US.
Oh yeah, UK. You know, boxing has blown up over the last 10 years. I think Eddie Hearn, Frank Warren, and Barry Hearn was the guys. Barry Hearn, and just this poster here. That was my first defense in Belfast, and it's actually Matt Sheeran boxing up here.
Okay, yeah.
I was Eddie Hearn, and I think Eddie's done a good job. Or Barry Hearn. Eddie Hearn's done a good job today, but I just don't want them to get suckered in to the money part.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, I think they both deserve a lot of credit, both
Yeah,
Frank Warren and Eddie Hearn. They do a lot for the grassroots end of the sport. But it's easy to do that when the money's rolling in at the top end from the Saudi funded events, right?
That's what I mean.
Yeah,
I think Eddie and say Frank, they've kept boxing going over the last 20 years.
Oh, I deserve a lot of credit, definitely. And British boxing is in a better place, isn't it? Because of it. And you compare it to US boxing, it feels like there's a real imbalance there, particularly for the opportunities.
They got the gym in Saudi Arabia and stuff.
Yeah.
If I put a gym in England or somewhere like that and want somebody to be a coach, I would do it.
Yeah, I'm with you.
My wife is okay with me. We're married 32 years. She would like to get rid of me. It's so easy to get around the world nowadays. You get the fighters over there, but you haven't got really the coaching level. I'm not running anybody down. All these coaches think, who do you think you are? I don't think I'm anybody. No, yeah, I think I'm one of the guys who was forced enough to train the best trainer they ever lived. That's what I think.
Yeah.
Futch. That's what I'm just fortunate to have him.
Of course.
It was priceless.
And a lot to share as a result.
Yeah, and I say it was just like me like a kid from an Irish league to Premier League, same time.
So let's just finish on last week's card then. What did you think of Canelo Crawford?
I thought, you know, I'm a Canelo fan. I was happy. I picked Canelo to win the fight. I love Crawford the way he fights. That is Matt's walking in there, movement, speed. Canelo just didn't know what to do. And he kept on it, lipping left hook the body. Why? As soon as he did that, he get hit with the jab.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then Crawford moved. Output from Canelo wasn't there. You know, he needs to walk in and blah, 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 blah. He wasn't doing that. And the corner wasn't telling him to do it either. It was almost, and in the last couple of rounds, he came out a little bit strong, but Crawford had the win. 8 rounds to 4, you could have scored 9-3.
Yeah, yeah.
And I'm a Canelo fan, but I still had that score.
Yeah, yeah. No, I mean, to be honest, it was pretty clear quickly that Crawford was comfortable in there, right?
He was comfortable, wasn't getting hit. And the shot he hit, he see a little bit of blocking, caught the shots on the arm, moving around. And was it a good fight? It was okay. It wasn't a great fight. It was an okay fight. A bit of a letdown, we thought.
Yeah, I mean, I felt like but that's so often the case, though, isn't it? You know, huge fight, and there's so much on the line the two fighters don't go in there and just throw caution to the wind. They're
No, you're right.
highly skilled athletes, so they're
Just
they're gonna be
it's just a
cautious to
crazy,
some
like,
extent.
it's the crazy ones like a tour guiding Mickey Ward who just banged heads.
Exactly, and I mean,
That was a fight. You could bet in that fight to be a great fight. It had 3 fights were unbelievable. You're right. That fight was more technical boxing, skills moving around. Both guys great skills, but Crawford's game plan was perfect.
yeah, he did a good job. Did a
Mello's
very
game
good
plan
job.
was wrong.
Yeah.
You can't throw one shot at a time against a guy who's faster and stronger and moving
No,
around.
no, that's it. He did well. He also didn't change it up at any point. I mean, if he boxes one way, doesn't he? And if you box one way, then your opponent's going to plan for that.
Between rounds, if you had the corner been telling them to do something different, but they weren't.
Yeah.
You just tell them to walk in. I said 3 or 4 or 5 punches at a time, boom, bang, and then move that way, boom, boom. You know what I mean? But
I mean, they've got nowhere to go, either of them, in my opinion.
But then they do a trilogy, and they both retire the same night. Whoever wins the last fight, or the last fight draw.
I just don't see. The thing is, I just don't see Crawford getting anywhere near, beat by Canelo. I mean, even if he gets a home cooked decision, you're talking. He's not going to get any closer than 8-4 to him, is he?
No, and they're talking about him fighting Benavidez. He's like, he's too big. He's just right.
Yeah.
Just picking food. He's talking about retirement. He's talking about retirement. Crawford too. Maybe he should retire. It's on your head. If it's on your head, don't. You're not gonna put 100% in.
No. Although
if
mentally,
about it, you may should do it. But money, and I don't think Crawford worried about the money. I really don't.
No, he doesn't seem that kind of guy, does he?
He doesn't, because Sheik guy said Benavidez, and that's going to be a big payday. But he's like, no, he's too big.
I mean, for me, Benavidez is quite static. He's quite predictable. He's very good at what he does.
But he's just so
he's
tall
big.
and wiry.
He's big. Yeah.
He just comes as every punch is like boom.
Yeah, but it feels to me like he'd have more.
Not fight coming up.
So yeah, he has. Yeah, he's who's he got coming? Oh, it's Anthony Yard.
Yard. Yeah. It's tough.
Yeah. That'd be a good fight.
Yard has a chance of beating him.
Yeah, if Yard's got anything left. But I mean, to me, Bivol is that one fight that I think is a step too far for Crawford because of his that pendulum step in and out, that movement. Because if you think about what Madrimov did against Crawford, it was that movement and that constant feinting that Crawford found difficult to pin down.
If Crawford was going to fight again, the Bivol fight for me would probably be the one to take, because can he beat him? He has a good chance. But if he loses, there's no shame in it.
Yeah, and I agree. And it's a low
Canelo
fight.
It didn't hit Canelo. Or Canelo wasn't hurt for me. He came back down again. It was okay.
Yeah.
So people just say he was just bigger and better.
Yeah. He's not a concussive puncher either, is he, Bivol? So it's not.
No, he's strong, blah, blah, blah. Just the way he boxes, he's just beautiful. He beat Canelo wider than the scorecard said.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, last one. I think, it's been a difficult week for the boxing world. Anyone who's had any part of their life affected by Ricky Hatton's journey and his character. What are your memories of Ricky Hatton?
Ricky trained in his gym for 2 weeks.
Really? Wow.
Him and Matthew. Got a picture on the wall of it with two of us stand head to head like that.
Amazing.
We didn't want to touch over the years, know what I mean? But in 2003, we were in La Manga in Spain for the Superstars. WBC Superstars. They rebooted that. Me and Ricky were in it. We shared a condo together. And he was the one bedroom on this side, I was the other bedroom, kitchen in the middle of the living room. But I just laughed because Ricky, I was going for a run in the morning. He was coming back from the night before. That's Ricky, but that's just the way Ricky was. I was at one of his fights in England to commentating. I think we had that. We weren't like really close to last decade, but he trained here. We got close. Did Superstars. We got close. It was more of a shock on me. I know he had his problem, but everybody's trying to point the problem. Oh, it was this. As mom and dad are more or less saying it was just maybe natural causes or something. Ricky's the type of guy that he lived one way and he trained one way. We all knew that. Ricky Hatton, they called him. And he lived that lifestyle. But when he trained, he just, boom, non-stop for 2 or 3 months. And it's just, the way he was, entertaining as a fighter, biggest fan base when it came. Even at his weigh-in, there was more people at his weigh-ins than there was at the fight sometimes. For
Incredible.
some fighters to fight.
Never ever to be repeated.
No, he's just a normal person. Other people can criticize whatever, but you know, that's just either people. So I say I consider him a friend, and it was a big shock to the boxing world because he's young, just sad, but it just goes to show you about what type of support he had around the globe. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean,
It wasn't just Manchester and things everywhere.
Oh yeah, it is lovely to hear so many people, so huge names from the sport and from all over the world, who recall, they've got little stories about him, and there's so much fondness and love for him, and it's.
Well, that's it. If you spend 10 minutes with Ricky, it's just a little joke, with you. That's the way you felt. You felt like you knew each other for years, and that's the way I was with Ricky. Just the way I was. When he was by Jim, I said no problem, and he's like, at the end of the 2 weeks, he was going to say, much do I say? Don't let me know. No, take something. And he said, no, I'm not taking him. You're my friend. And he sent my wife a bunch of flowers. That's what he does. That's Ricky. I say him and Matthew were both here. Both of them are good people. And they were welcome here anytime. I mean, it's right before he fought Juan Uranga.
Yep.
Yeah, it was right here. And he gave me tickets to the fight as well. And stuff. It's sides like that people don't see, you know what I mean? They just see the guy at the weigh-in, the guy at the fight. It's sad for his family, you know what I mean? His kids. It's just sad for him and he's going to fight again, wasn't he?
He was, yeah, in Dubai apparently. Yeah, I mean, and getting in shape for it. But yeah, you just never know what's behind when the front door closes. You just never know what's going on.
No, I say if mental problems has been. Ricky's had problems. I've had my problem, mental problems. It's normal. It's normal, but not normal. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But you get help for it. I hate the way people just throw darts at it and say, "Oh, that's what happened." When it didn't happen, we don't know we don't know the truth yet. But the family might know the truth, and that's fine. It's their business. If there's something that they want to be disclosed, that's up to them. His mom and dad, they're good people. I met them too. They're real good people. And it's just, you'll be missed.
Huge hole, and more than any of us could have imagined. I mean, I think I've spoken to so many people who didn't know him and who have been wandering around a little bit lost for a week, just thinking about what he did for what their memories of him had done for their life, and what great nights, and maybe they know someone who knows him, and everyone, there's that, what is that, what's the rule, you're only 6 steps removed from anyone on the planet or whatever. It feels like everyone on the planet is 1 step removed from Ricky Hatton, because so many people are that close to feeling like they know him. It's incredible.
They just need to put a statue up in Man City of him.
I hope so. I do hope so.
No, the truth is, it's not a hope so. They should do it.
Yeah.
The statue should have been up of him before he was still living.
Yeah, absolutely. And that if there's a lesson from this, and sadly there are always lessons when it's the tragedy like this. You've got to remember that when people are living, if
when
you've
they're
got a chance,
alive.
exactly. Make sure that you tell people how you feel about them while they're alive. If you think someone's a good person, tell them. It's not just implied. It has to be told.
Yeah, exactly. And I say, it was sad for boxing, but you'll never be forgotten. No, my gym here is Ricky Hatton poster, Ricky Hatton poster, Ricky Hatton poster. There's 3 in a row over there, and then a picture of me and him over there. And they're signed by him. And Matthew signed the posters over here too. So
brilliant.
Never be, and this gym is never going to be forgotten.
I'm sure it'll be the same in a lot of gyms all over the world.
Oh yeah, people are going to see that. They see it signed by him as well, and they'll see our little picture with their head to head like this. It's just it's sad for boxing.
Yeah.
But watch his fights. Entertainment. You can just look at that and think, oh. It's like if I was gone tomorrow, I would just say to people, like, watch your Morales fight, watch the fight, just watch him.
Yeah.
Entertain him, you know what I mean? That's what you want to do. You don't want to forget the memories that you've had, I mean. I believe you're dead, you're going to a better place anyway.
Yeah, I hope he's at rest. He's at peace wherever he is. Yeah, for sure. So look, Wayne, on that sad and kind of reflective note, I mean, there is a little bit of a link there, because you know, what a decorated amateur you were. What a fantastic professional career. WBC champion, fighting superstars, huge fights on HBO, huge homecoming fights in Belfast. Just an incredible career. Really one of the greatest careers of, you know, in recent years of boxers from these shores. And yet you're so down to earth. And this conversation has been, like a lot of people in boxing, don't get me wrong, there's a lot of really humble, you know, hardworking, just normal people in boxing, but you come across as such a grounded guy.
There is, and sometimes there is.
And luckily for me, I don't come across that many with the huge egos and the expectations, but I'm sure they exist. And, you know, when you've been in the sport as long as you have, I'm sure you've seen both.
No, I would say as a kid, you know, you make that goal to become a champion, and if you achieve that goal, why change? You know, you're going to see that person all the way through, and you say you meet your friend on the way up, you meet on the way down again.
Absolutely.
In the way down again, you haven't got a nice person. You're going to find out you haven't got anybody. But I've had the same circle around me for all the years I've fought, and
that's testament. That's
not going to change. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, that's testament to you, and you clearly live by those rules. And yeah, listen, it's been an absolute pleasure to spend time talking to you about your career, your thoughts on the sport, and where it's at today, and cover some interesting topics. You know, the future needs people like you to help take this sport forward, Wayne. It really does.
And also, go Ricky Hatton.
Yes, yeah, indeed.
You'll be missed.
Okay, Wayne, thanks so much. Sorry, thanks so much for coming on the show.